Get it. Get it. Hmm.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hey.
How the heck are you, my friend?
How am I? I feel like I want to say rejuvenated, but it's not the normal rejuvenated. It's rejuvenated in a way that's full of great information, like wisdom coming from the conference. I'm feeling really full and
Mhm.
rejuvenated.
Right?
Yeah.
I was doing a post yesterday, I think it was yesterday, where I was pausing after
Yeah.
our first day of the Women Connected in Wisdom conference. And I was taking a pause and a deep breath and just kind of soaking it all in. And it reminded me of the time when I was doing my first triathlon and I
Mm,
was swimming and I was out in the middle of this lake and swimming, y'all. I learned how to swim to do this triathlon. It kind of
mm,
like we've learned along the way about how to do this conference, right?
yeah.
and I remember it was a sunny day and it was the thing that scared me the most out of
Mm,
everything. And I was halfway around the buoy, and now folks that are like serious competitive are going to laugh when I tell this story, but I
mm,
remember pausing, like I'm swimming and I lifted my head up and I looked at the sun and I was like, you're doing this, you're doing this thing. Like I really took a moment to pause and reflect. And that's what I felt like last night as we were celebrating our first kickoff, our first
yeah.
day, our first
Mm,
conference, this dream that we talked about 2 years ago
mhm.
that has come to fruition, and we're in the middle of, y'all.
Yeah.
We're doing this. We just ended the second day of the Women Connected Wisdom podcast and popped on the. So should we do our regular introduction, because
Absolutely.
we have some speakers and authors that are already starting to come in the green room. But how about we do our regular introduction and kick the show off?
Yes, let's do it. Hi, ladies. I am Shannon Mitchell, a Black millennial, entrepreneur, and Amazon best-selling author, the founder of Shalo Glow LLC, an all-natural handmade personal products company that helps people glow from head to toe. I'm a champion for your self-care, business care, and intentional wellness.
Hi, y'all. I'm Christine Gautreaux, a white social justice advocate, an international speaker, coach, best selling Amazon author, and dancing social worker who helps you upgrade yourself and community care.
Yes, and together we are Women Connected in Wisdom, a podcast grounded in the 8 dimensions of wellness.
And we like to get together every week to have intentional conversations about how to be well in business, relationships, and life,
Yeah,
right? How do we do this thing? You know,
really.
one of the ways we do it
By
is
being
in
connected.
community, by being
Yes.
community and in connected. So, what is the dimension that we're talking about today?
Yes. Yeah, so I'm gonna give you the dimension and then we'll go to the definition so we can bring our ladies to the party. Okay, so today we're talking about social wellness, and social wellness is about the ability to nurture ourselves, others, and our relationships with healthy boundaries. It includes balancing the other 7 dimensions of wellness and actively participating as an interdependent being in the web of life.
Well, I think we're definitely actively participating right now.
Definitely. Active, yes. Yeah, I was thinking about who was it earlier? Was it Shannon Ivy? And she said, "I wasn't taking care of the introvert side of myself." And I
Ooh,
said, that's a
mm,
good way of thinking about it."
right? I want to have
Yeah,
a further conversation when we pull her up here, because
yeah.
I always consider myself an ambivert. Like most
Mhm.
people say, "Oh, you're such an extrovert," and I
Oh, that's
know I
beautiful.
have an introverted part of me. So I
Yeah.
wonder if she slowed down long enough. Is she really more of an introvert or is she really an ambivert?
Mhm.
It's a
Yeah,
very
I'm
good
right in the
question,
middle. That is a
right?
good question.
Right? I don't
Yeah.
know. Ah, well, I think we go ahead and pull some of the people up here, because one of the
Yeah.
things we have not said, y'all,
Mm.
what is today?
Oh, I'm turning 90. We're turning 90, the 90th episode.
You look darn good for 90, my
It's
friend.
shea butter.
It's the shea butter from Shayla
Yes.
Glow, where you glow from head to toe.
That's
Oh,
right.
yeah, it is. Yeah, it
Yes.
is. Well, we are going to be joined by some of our friends talking about social wellness. We could not have done this without them. The podcast, they have been speakers on the podcast. They are authors in our latest book. They're just phenomenal women that we are connected to and part of our social circle and part of our wellness, like the wisdom that they bring to the table and who they are in our lives. And so we want to welcome to the stage Life Coach Co and Shannon Ivy are in the house.
Hi.
How are you ladies doing?
Doing awesome.
Woo.
How are you?
Good.
We are running like dancing. I don't even know that running, dancing's a better word, right? Because you get to have different flavors of dance. You sometimes get to slow down. Can y'all tell that my wellness in between prepping for the conference has been watching So You Think You Can Dance?
Ooh, I love So You Think You Can Dance. It's
awesome.
I
looked up the bad auditions the other day. I wanted to laugh a little bit. YouTube bad auditions.
Oh my God.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Oh
my
yes.
God. There was one that's so hilarious, like the audition from American Idol a while back, where they had a man singing, "Give me your yeah." He would say, "Don't wake me up, up, up." You got to go look at it. It is hilarious.
Ooh. Shannon Ivy, I see that emotional support kitty that's been with us throughout this conference. My kitty is currently, won't let me pick her up, is sitting by the gecko's cage. Like, oh, mom's distracted. Let me come over. Fine, the gecko's protected, but they're buddies. Or at least the cat's trying to convince the gecko that they're buddies.
The cat likes to watch the cat can see things that the dog cannot see. And so the cat and technology are fascinating.
And you know what was fascinating? It's just like a cat. The minute when we paid attention and they knew we were looking at him, took off.
Like a teenager. Cats and teenagers are a lot alike.
Right?
A lot.
So you two, Shannon, you just did your speech today. Knocked it out of the park. I mean, what can we get? Okay, y'all know I was raised by a football coach in Texas, so I have a lot of sports analogies. But what's another great feminist analogy for like you rocked it, you danced your socks off, what do we got, y'all?
That's a good question.
Kick ASS.
Right?
ASS.
Right?
How about that?
I think the cat just kicked Shannon off.
Oh my goodness.
Because I saw little whiskers and then all of a sudden she was gone.
Oh my goodness.
So Life Coach Co, I know you've been working because you are a boss up of a teacher. Here she comes. Did the cat kick you off? Okay.
Ooh, cat.
Right? That's what we figured.
Now I can't hear you. Hold on.
Okay. And if you
I
can't
can
hear
hear
us,
you now.
okay, good.
Cat.
Perfect.
Yes.
Are you saying did it go well? It just was like.
Right? It went phenomenally well, my friend. Like the only wish I could have had was more people were in the room with you. Like we found out today, y'all, we've sold over 100 tickets for this conference.
Yeah.
And so people are engaged. They're wanting to be present and they're busy women. So some of them aren't able to be here at the time. They're going to get the recordings or and you can still get the recordings, y'all. If you hear this for the first time and you're like, hey, how do I get that? Sign up for a VIP package. You're going to get really yummy goodies coming to your door for a self-care kit. And you could get all the recordings because every session, something has happened that, and y'all, I've been in a relationship with most of these women for over 2 years. Like I know their material. Like I was thinking, oh yeah, every one of them has brought something new to the table. Every one of them is dropping resources. They're connecting you to other incredible.
And then putting it into action. I think that was my favorite part was to have someone join me and then to like flip it and make sure that it was on her behalf. Do you know?
Right?
Like I'm so about that.
That was such a powerful coaching moment, Shannon. Like I was like, I know her. I knew her back when.
And she wouldn't say she was a coach and she had nothing to offer. Remember those days? I was like, Christine, I just don't have anything to offer anybody. I don't have anything. Yeah. Shannon Ivy. Okay. All right.
Right. Yeah, so powerful, y'all. And you'll be receiving like a link to the assessment that she walked us through. And here comes Dr. Phelps into the room. Get on up here, Dr. Phelps.
I need those cards. I need the cards yesterday.
Right? They're coming. Oh, I don't know if she can hear us. We'll give her a minute to get her tech going. All right, Life Coach Co. I know that you are popping in and out right now. Your talk is coming up. What stood out for you? Oh, you want to say when it is?
It is going to be Friday, October 28th at 11:15 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is 10:15 Central. Yes.
Right. Miami Beaches and Georgia Peaches. Coach Co is going to be in the house. She is the third to last speaker. She's session number 3 of the 4th day. Like, y'all, I mean, every day I get excited. I look at the agenda. We're the ones that said it, and I get excited about the agenda.
It's exciting. It's exciting.
What's exciting to me is, first of all, the generosity of our speakers. And yeah, they're just bringing it, y'all. I mean, and I know, and I love these people. That's why we're connected. And I just keep getting more and more. But yeah. Shannon, what is standing out for you?
For me, I think it's the coming to fruition of everything that we talked about, right? When the book was released a month ago, we said, oh, it took us 9 months to get here. And that's true. We also talked about the conference when we talked about the book. So now it took us 10 months to get here, and I'm so excited to finally be here. And it's the people that we know and love, people that we don't know, and people from around the world. And those are 3 different things that we specifically mentioned. And so to see it happening and seeing other women get their questions answered and things click and more confidence in walking in what may be a new journey of wellness has been really satisfying to see.
That's powerful.
Shannon, I'm so proud. Like I see you guys coming on, Shannon, Ivy, Shannon Mitchell, and Christina. I'm just so proud to see you guys just dominating and just showing your femininity and just showing your bossness all in different ways. It's just so exciting to see. I was like, Shannon, your skin is glowing. You look amazing up there. I was like, she looks so cute and profesh. I was like so proud. Christine, you're amazing at communicating and just navigating all of the communication. I just thought that was awesome. And Shannon Ivy, you're just a natural, man. The way you just step in and just this was like breathing for you. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just so proud. I'm so proud. I just wish that I could be all up in there, but they won't let me have it. They won't let me have it.
Well, and those kiddos need you, Life Coach Co. I mean, they need you. They need your light. What I love is here you are, an Amazon bestselling author, a speaker, and you're doing the thing. Like, you're doing the thing with your kids. You're a life coach to adults, but you look at that sticker. I love that. Yes. And now we don't have our virtual backgrounds on so we can actually see it, right? It was a little weird for me to jump from the virtual background to this background. It was like, whoa, what am I wearing now? Oh, beautiful. Beautiful. Y'all, let's take a deep breath with each other. Whew. And just take a moment, because I know we're all high energy, and some of our listeners are going to be like, what have y'all been doing?
Being around each other. That's what happens. You get around people with high positive energy that boosts you up.
Right?
Yeah.
And reflect your light to you.
Yeah.
Right? We see each other's light as we shine. And just the power of community. When you said that, Shannon, like 9 months, yeah. And we did birth this book baby together, right? And there was some labor, and there was some tears, and there was some doubt, and there was like, are we ready? Are we ready? Like even as our speakers got ready for this conference, right? Am I ready? I don't know. I don't know what I'm presenting. I don't know. And everybody so far has just like shown up and shown out.
Yeah.
And even one of my favorite moments, and it was so different than everything else, but Shannon Mitchell, our conversation today, we just had a small circle conversation about intellectual wellness. And were we doing it? Was that the one we did it
Yes,
on?
it was.
Okay.
Yeah.
Look, it's all starting to blur already. Day
You
two.
got it.
Um,
Yes.
but that was powerful because one of our guests that said, I didn't know if I was going to come on camera, and she was on camera with us almost the whole time,
Yes, she
and
was.
and really honoring what she's trying to figure out she wants to offer the world.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
Felicia, what really felt like a call to action to me about was living in our purpose and our passion.
Hmm.
Where's that intersection, right?
Yeah. And what I think about, especially with us talking about social wellness this week, is a therapist that I went to. And I was thinking about her earlier, Shannon, when you were sharing your story about how you needed to see yourself in your journal pages and the activity that was your homework that day from your therapist. And the last time I went to one of, right, the pages that I love that you brought that journal to the conference today. And one of the things my therapist at the time asked me was, how is your social support? And I said, "That's a great question. I have some good people around me, right? How connected are we? How connected am I to the people that I'm close to right now? And what are the reasons for that? For COVID, we know that it stretched some people, right? My friends with children got stretched. I had friends that were sick, they got stretched. And realistically, coming from a healthy place, I can't expect them to show up every day how my best friend used to in middle school when we were the kids before she had kids. It's not the same, you know? So for me, piggybacking off of last week's episode of mental and emotional support and entrepreneurship and the effects on women and how over 70% of us are likely to be affected by mental and emotional. It's the support through the wins, through the challenges, through the day to day. Where are my books at? Where is my hard drive? Computer flying off the top of the car before a conference? And how do we do it all? So for me, the social support and hearing the stories and knowing that I'm connected to resources in whichever dimension I need them, that gives me solid ground to do difficult things, to do things for the first time, to have fun with it. And that's been amazing.
That made me think of do you mind if I hop in?
Yeah, of course.
That next thing when he said, "Where's my energy?"
Yeah.
And he's like, "Why are you so exhausted?" And I was holding to the sides of the well. And if I think about it on a day-to-day basis, it can look like um, when things are out of congruence, I might spend a lot of time on them instead of letting them go. Do you know, like there are different ways that I still like say no to what is, but when I need to let things go and let things go well, do you know, there's a flow to it. But that's what it made me think of. And that little coaching session when it's like, am I disconnected to people because there's a lack in me, or are they just not vibrating their own integrity? Because if I'm with you and you're in your truth and in your integrity, I might not need but 10, 15 minutes and we're good. That's my favorite thing to say to Christine Gautreaux is like, you got 10 minutes?
I love those conversations.
You got 2 hours with people who can be, and Christine will be like, either I got 10 minutes in about 15 minutes, or she'll be like, let's go. And we just go zhunk. And those
Right.
kind of people, you don't need quantity, you just need
Right.
quality.
Or I'll say, I have 8. Will that work?
Or 5. I'm
Eight. That's
going to go
a
get it
that's a
beyond
good
this
number.
Right.
The 8 is the number of new beginnings, right? So,
Right.
I mean, I just wanted to hop in here because I know I have to go in a few, but I did have a few things that I wanted to say that was that affected me in some of the things that you said when the passion and purpose was a big deal message earlier, because I literally had a passion purpose conversation with myself last night. I had to take a nap because I was like overstimulated, overwhelmed. So I had to get down and take a nap. I was just feeling the pressures and the weight of everything that we've been doing on top of everything that's been going on at work. And I was really like feeling like I was like 2 steps away from spiraling. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna take a nap. That's always a great thing to do. Watch a little TV, take a nap, and not set an alarm. Just let my body do what it needs to do. So I did that, and I woke up, and I was like, okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a shower, eat some food, and then get back on my work train. And then something inside of me said, no, you're not. No, you're not. What you did was you got up you went to work 45 minutes early. You did what you could. You filled in every single piece of that time when you were there. Also stayed later. What you're going to do now is you're going to remember who you are and whose you are. You're going to relax, you're going to decompress, and you're going to remember that you're Courtney and that you don't let nobody boss you around and force you into doing anything other than your best. And your best is the definition of what you can offer and what you know that you can do. And that's it. I can't, my boss is not going to pressure me to give more than I have to give. I'm not going to pressure myself with the perfectionism. So I had to have the social wellness conversation with myself. It was like one talking to myself as an individual, because my thing is always treating yourself like a person, having that conversation with myself and checking back in. And then Shannon Ivy was like the journaling. And I sat down for recess and journaled instead of sitting with the other teachers, because I was like, I need to get my emotions out, but I also need to flip it and let the spirit do what it's going to do and how it's going to move. Because if it's just up to me, it's going to be all negative. But it needs to be flipped. How are we going to flip today? Add some gratitude with it, add some positivity with it. Because, like you guys were talking about earlier, I've been reading a book called "Laziness Does Not Exist" by Devin Price, PhD. So it's a really good book about the laziness lie that we've been fed all over society to work past what we're capable of, past our capacity, burning out, and things like that. So having that moment, I was like, I need to practice some positive psychology. What do I know exactly that I can apply small changes right now? One of the things was not sitting with my coworkers for recess, because all we do is talk about the bad that's going on, the overwork, the overwhelming, the complaining, the venting, and sometimes it becomes too much. It's a circle of negativity, and it's not any shade to them. That may make them feel better, but for me, after a while, I can only do it so much. There's something inside of me telling me I need something better. So just having that power, purpose conversation, that walking in purpose conversation, treating myself like a person and splitting that social wellness piece, because this was only something that I could do for myself. This is one of those conversation pieces that I had to tap into myself and say, look, you know who you are, you know what you're capable of, you know that you are not being lazy, you know that you are giving your best, and you know that you can't do everything. And you also know that you need to have grace for yourself. So, what we're going to do is we're going to go boil these spaghettis to go with our food, and we're going to eat, and we're going to watch a movie and decompress. And that's what I did. And even in comparison today, I'm like, I'm going to get on it. Christine, I'm going to tap in. I'm going to get on it. We're going to have a good time Friday. I'm ready to have fun. I'm ready to talk. I'm ready to do it, because everything in life doesn't have to be scary to the point where you don't stop and breathe and embrace the moment, like at the buoy, that you don't embrace the moment and look up and see, what are we doing here? We are Women Connected in Wisdom. This is Women Connected in Wisdom podcast, and we are all in different areas, but we are more connected than we've been throughout this whole process of everything that we are birthing out. And I just wanted to be encouraging and shed a light on what you guys are doing and what's been going on in this conference, and just what's been going on in this whole process of social wellness and being. It was because of the conversations that we've had and the encouragement and just the energy that we share amongst each other that I was even able to have that conversation with myself and snap out of it. So I'm just really proud of you guys. I'm proud of this process. Melody is already on here. She's extremely awesome, and I'm so excited to see her. And I just wanted to share that, y'all, because I had to tell somebody. That's going to be in the Thursday tidbit email, but I wanted to tell people that I had to snap out of it, because it was like oh, you're going down that rabbit hole of, I
Yeah.
gotta get this done, I gotta get that done, I gotta do this. And I'm just
Mhm.
like, I can't do it all. And that's
Mm-mm.
okay.
And thank you for sharing, Corey. And before you get off, I want you to know I was scheduled at 3 on Thursday. I had to text my general manager, like, I'm not going to be there. And I was supposed to be the big boss. I was supposed to be the highest in the whole restaurant. I said, I'm, I can't come. I'm not going to be hospitable. I'm not, I'm going to go off on somebody. Like, it's not going to be okay. And I'm not going to operate from wellness because of the same thing. So, we hold space for that. And shout out to you for honoring yourself, for getting up and still resting, because we'll rest, we'll go to sleep, and then get up and start working. And that's how we got there, you know? So, way to decompress, way to say yes to yourself. And boundaries are important. And that's what I think about when Shannon Ivy says what she said, and kind of what we were hitting on in the conference is sometimes other people aren't keeping their own boundaries. And it reminds me of a mom, right? I went into, so my dad did lawns too, right? We talk about farming, we talk about dad coaches, all this stuff. And my dad mowed lawns. And as a child, sometimes we would have the nice people who would let me in their house and give me something to drink and give me something to eat, right? So I was in this bathroom and she had all these sayings on the wall, like all her rules. And I was like, whoa, what is going on? And one of the things in the bathroom said, just because, what did it say? Your lack of planning does not call for an emergency on my part, right? And that's a lot of our stuff with wellness. You didn't take care of your finances and now you need help. And you haven't taken care of your emotional and mental and now I have to pick up the baggage or you're dumping on me and this balance of everything. And so holding the boundaries is necessary. Sometimes stuff happens, you know, and as we are intentional with our wellness, we're going to have those moments.
Absolutely. I missed some of the gems that you said, but I'm
That's
not
okay.
going to make the people go back over and listen to it again. I'll catch the replay because
I
it's
got you.
always good. But
Thank you.
I'm proud of you guys. I'm so proud of you guys. You are all amazing women and just doing a lot. And it's not because you have to. It's
Yeah.
because you want to, and that's the difference that people have. Because I don't want to be on here creating any type of culture, hustle and bustle. This is not a hustle and bustle. This is something that all of us want to do, and all of us want to be here sharing this information to help make your lives better, to
Yeah.
help you know and recognize your wellness and what that looks like for you in all of these dimensions. So I definitely want to put that out there, which I had to check in with myself and say, hey, because those are important conversations, man. You literally have to ask yourself, do I even care about this? Or do I care that somebody else cares about this? Because I had to ask myself, do I really care if my bed is made up in the morning? I don't. I don't. That's my mom. I wish I cared. I do wish I cared, but I don't. So
That's a great segue for Melody LeBaron to come on.
That's what I was
Uh,
gonna say. Melody, what do you say about that? And not that, Cole, you can't have your opinion. I was thinking about Melody too.
I I actually I love that. Here's why. Because as adults, when we are moving in our world in resistance to something that happened when we were children, we have to get over that. We have to get over that. One of the things that I notice and share with my clients is that many times, you know, a lot of times clients find me in their 30s, their 40s, sometimes their 50s and 60s, right? And so they have adulted their relationships. They have matured their relationships. They refuse to stay in a relationship where they're being abused. And so they clean things up in their relationships. But in their relationship with their home, there are still areas of their home that make them feel like they did in their family of origin in that dysfunction. And so if there are any areas of your home that give you that same body sense that you had in a dysfunctional relationship earlier in your life, let's go down to the root of that. We don't want anyone to feel like there's some authority figure outside of themselves telling them what to do or how they have to keep their space, right? For me, it's about how do you want to keep your space? What lights your fire? What makes you sparkle? What gives you the feeling of living in sanctuary? That's what I want my clients to feel like.
I want to check into that, Melody, because that's really good. And the thing about it is that for me, one of the things that I realized in the process was that I was being so hard on myself about not being as organized as I think that I should be. And so there's a twofold of that. You know what I mean? Like, there is a part, hey, you do have to get organized to make this process better for you. But we also know that that's not where you shine.
Yeah.
So if I put too much energy into the things that I'm not shining in, then the areas that I'm shining in are going to start to dim. And that's what I noticed. My irritability was getting higher because my energy was focused on things that required more of my energy, more of my attention. That's that intellectual, emotional piece of this wellness that kind of spilled over into the social, because again, knowing yourself is so important. Because I know when I was doing my journaling, I know it was like, hey, what areas you've been talking about your weak areas for so long. What are your strengths? My
Right.
strength is building that community and that social wellness piece. But the fact that I was putting my energy so much into the organizing and trying to be perfect and have everything, it was causing the social wellness piece or the communal piece to fall apart because I was irritable and anxious and annoyed most of the time. So it's like every time people were approaching me, it was like, I can't back off. And then it was like, hey, you have to, what's going on? What are you doing? Right now is not the time to focus on being organized for me. Is right now is the time to build those strengths and those characters and let those things start to slowly build. Work on one small thing at a time instead of trying to become a organizer like Melody overnight, you know?
Or being kind to yourself. What I'm hearing is pulling up Dr. Cynthia Phelps and her work on self-compassion and being really kind and loving with yourself. That you don't have to be perfect. What do you got to say about this, Dr. Phelps?
Oh,
Dr.
well,
Phelps started a podcast.
sounds good to me. I've definitely benefited from Melody's skills and her guidance in my own life for sure. And yes, self-compassion is so important, especially when you're comparing yourself to, maybe ideals that you see online or, like you said, past conditioning.
And something else I want to lift up too, especially because we talk about self-care, business care, right? There's multiple parts of the business. There's a product or service, there's a legal part, communication, cash flow, the team, the mission, all these things, right? So if we have one business or multiple businesses, and then our employees in other business, well, it might take 3 hours to go grocery shopping, prep, and organize the refrigerator. If you try to do it in 15 minutes and then beat yourself up about it at the end of a long day, then it's the math is not mathing. So for me, it points to the expectations and the capacity on the plate. And a lot of times as professional women, we talk about the laundry all the time, the basket of laundry that might sit there or the pile of laundry. And I think that's where it comes from, is just the reality of how long it takes to do stuff. And hey, if I'm doing X, Y, and Z, then that means I automatically need to start bringing other people on. I need 2 people or I need 3 people, or it's just not realistic. And that's the reality of the situation.
Can I tell y'all one of the members of my team?
Mhm.
Instacart. Instacart has been a member of my team since I wrote the first book,
Mm.
because I looked up and, well, my kids looked up actually when they were teenagers at the time. We're like, Mom, there's no da 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 in the house. And I'm like, I'm on a deadline. There's food in the house. How you get to that part where there's food in the house. Nobody's starving, but it's not what they like, right? And that I discovered Instacart before the pandemic. And I was like, oh, look at this tool. look at these team members who like want to do this shopping for me. And at first I was really struggling with, it felt like a lot of privilege, right? And I do have that privilege that I was able to use this service, and I live in an area that it was here. And I was like, oh, the money and da 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 da. But what I realized was the time it saved me money, and I don't have impulse control when I go to Aldi and there's that beautiful little aisle that has all those really random cool things. And the first time I was like, oh, I'm not going to Instacart. I'm going to go to the grocery store by myself. Like, I'm going to go do this, right? I got time. I spent $100 more than I would have spent if I'd have had them drop it and they bring it up my stairs, y'all. Like Shannon and I are doing this conference and we had a break today and there was our lunch because some beautiful human being brought it to our door, and all I had to do was, so who's on your team and what do we need? And Shannon Ivy, you have something to say about this.
I'm noticing that I have friends who have people that clean their homes. I don't have a few friends. I have, and it is, when I ask how much that is, I have lots of judgment about it. And maybe it is about like, what does clean mean and what is paying another person to help you with something that I was trained was my job and not my dad's job. Not, it's literally Shannon's job because Shannon is good at it. I don't know. So I'm just fascinated by that. I think labor is gendered. And my thoughts about it inside of me are gendered. So I'm still trying to, I'm not going to use my words, but you know what I'm going to say? I'm in special recovery because it still exists in my spinal cord and I got to get it out and then look at it. Like, what is this about? Be curious about it.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for lifting that up because it's so true. Melody, you look like you have something you want to add on this.
Yes, thank you. It is so true. And you know, one of the things my clients have to agree to if they're going to work with me is what I call fierce non-judgment. Fierce non-judgment on themselves, fierce non-judgment on their space. And we have to be willing to explore not just what's in our space, but what is in our consciousness, like Shannon Ivy just brought up for us. It's super important for us to recognize that we are not just being affected by things. We are being affected by beliefs, our beliefs and the beliefs that are in the collective. And when we can hold fierce non-judgment is when we can see what is really affecting us and make a more deliberate choice. Yeah.
Can I just speak to that real quick, Melody? Because our listeners know, well, now the whole conference knows, I've taken your class 2 times. And I've taken a couple other workshops with you, and I listen. You've been on our podcast a couple. Like, I'm a huge follower, because I'm doing my best to get this right about environmental wellness in my home and all those thoughts and judgment. And every time you say that about non-judgment, my shoulders go down like another 1/4 of an inch. Like I feel my body relaxing, and I'm almost to that point. But every time something else bubbles up about where that story came from, why I'm not in the partnership I want to be in with my house, right? Because what'll happen is I lessen that. I think, oh, and like what Cynthia would say, Dr. Phelps would say, like, oh, it's okay. Like when you give me permission, that's like, I think we need a Melody inner ally card, Dr. Phelps. I'm just saying. Is she our like organizer declutter? Like, can we just make a special Melody, okay, to put in the inner ally deck? Even if it's for just those of us that know her, I would be so tickled to pull my Melody card out with them. But it really it's that inner ally that gives me the permission to say, oh, baby, it's okay. You've got this. And to have the insight, because the insight I got this week, and we've known each other. I mean, we're going on a little bit of knowing each other here, right? And the insight I realized this week at the conference was that I was raised on a small farm, very much connected to nature and the land. And I was taught to value the outside more than the inside. And I was taught that it's way more fun to be outside. And in my body, that felt true too, right? It's way more fun to be outside than it is inside cleaning. And so I was always my dad's helper. I was always the one that went outside and worked on the farm and worked outside. And I grudgingly did my chores. Like, because they were hard and it was, we got fussed at and it had to be a certain way. And I was never good enough at it because I had dirt on my shoes and, so all those things, right? And just having compassion. Like, here's the thing I'm going to say about social wellness and this conference, especially. What I'm loving so far, just about the 2 days, and we've got 2 more days, is the weaving together of everybody's modalities and the weaving together of this wisdom to really form, like, because I think about your words of non-judgment. I think about Dr. Phelps' words of self-compassion, and who do we need in this moment? We need the Melody LeBaron Inner Alley card. So.
And what I love too about the fact that you've taken the class twice and are talking about her offerings for next year, Christine, is that no matter how much help we get, we still might not be the expert in that area, right? Like the shea butter is not hard to make, but you don't want to make shea butter, I got you, So sometimes it's about the team. Hey, you are always going to do the schedule. I'm always going to do the money. And that's how we're going to separate it. And that's what it's going to be. And that's okay.
I love that, Shannon. And that was pretty much what I wanted to come on here and say. I wanted to just reflect back again the fact that the speakers and the authors of the book have so much wisdom from so many different perspectives, right? And the fact that what you said, it went from mid 20s to 80 years old that we have here. And so listening to Karen talk earlier and offer up her resources, right? Of people that she knows. Like, we already have this beautiful community of our little 18 authors, which is opening up into a larger community of women that are connected in wisdom. And this is powerful. Like, this is the power, right? I'm glad I don't have to be a Melody. I'm glad that I don't have to be a Christine. And I'm so glad that I have Shannon in my life now. And so I wanted to just really cheerlead that, because it is so powerful to have a community around you. And this Women in Connected in Wisdom community is fantastic. And so thank you so much for putting this together, you two. And I'm just excited to see what is going to happen next.
Thank you so much.
I'm with her. What she said. I can't wait to see where we're going next with this team, because
to the top.
To the top. Yeah.
Yes. Or wherever we should be, right? But I'm competitive. We're going to the top. That's always, I like to be on top of the world. And that's what it's about, be us showing up authentically, us sharing our stories, and just being ourselves, being able to show up in our power, and have somewhere where it's safe to say, you know what, I don't know this, or this is actually how I feel. I don't want to make my bed. What do you think about that? Is it going to be the end of the world? Does that mean I'll never complete anything? Well, it depends on how you like your environment, and that's the environmental wellness of it, So this was truly our dream, bringing women that we knew and did not know and their resources to the table. And something else I love about it, ladies, and I don't know how often I talk about this, but as women, again, we're taught to ignore our needs and overextend ourselves, right? So if I know somebody that needs help, I do not have to be the sole resource. I'm great at organizing, right? But Melody is certified in feng shui. She is going to be the higher level of expertise in that, right? So I can help you find some clear containers like the home edit said, but she can walk you through it and has been doing it since she was a young girl with her other 6 siblings, right? And that's what I love, is that we don't have to overextend ourselves, and we could just point to the resources and stay in our power in the area that we like to reside in.
And there's beautiful overlap, right? And that's, one of the things that I've talked with several of y'all on this call, and, there's enough work for everybody, y'all. There is enough work. Dr. Phelps, thanks for popping by. I know you got to go. We adore you. Your presentation it kicked us off. It was session number 1. It was phenomenal. Everybody's been talking about the inner ally cards almost in every session that we've been in. They come up at least once. So, and on this podcast, we talk about them often. So, yay for inner allies. And now my creative brain has just given me all kinds of ideas.
Well, I'm very excited about it. And Melody has given me many creative ideas. And I love that now she is embodying one of the ideas. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Oh,
that is the power of connection, isn't it? It is the power of connection. We got a little funky here. Let me see if I can get that way. There we go. That way we can see us a little better. Melody.
So, I have a question.
Oh, go ahead, Shannon.
And excuse me for cutting you off, Christine. And I was thinking about this the other day. I remember one day when I realized, who do we decorate our houses for? Is it for us or is it for the people that come over? Right. And I started thinking about, just like we talk about our life, like who makes the decision, who really set the values in your life, who makes the rules that you follow. So when you think about social wellness, how do you see that it relates to what you do in organizing?
Can I tell a funny story real quick before you say that, Melody? Okay. I had a neighbor who's no longer my neighbor. When we moved into this house, we decorated our house, and we're artists, we're creatives. My husband has incredible artwork. And a lot of his artwork, the women are a little scantily clad sometimes. They're beautiful. But they're hanging in our living room because it's his art. And I had this neighbor come over, and she was younger than us. And she was sitting on my couch, and she said, "Your artwork makes me uncomfortable." And I took a deep breath, because the old me would have just been horrified and been like, oh, and the part of me that is in wellness looked there and goes, well, for sure, don't go up to my bedroom. That's what your "who do we decorate our house for" came up for me, Shannon. I'll pass to you, Melody.
so this is a really important point. And it was just like Co's comment about, do I make my bed or not? Right. We need to be at choice in our own environment. The more you can be at choice, the more you deliberately choose the colors, the textures, the furnishings, the art, the more you're going to be able to put yourself in that same command position in your relationships, right? It was very difficult for me growing up in a dysfunctional family of origin to set boundaries and say no, which, in my 30s, when my home office looked like a bomb had gone off, made sense that I was having a hard time setting boundaries and saying no and giving myself what I needed. When I got the shelving systems, when I set boundaries with my time and got rid of everything that I didn't need, again, another boundary, yet another yes or no, and then kept what I was going to need again, I was then faced with a choice. Do I want this to be a utilitarian looking space, or do I want it to express my personality? And you can see behind me that I've painted the walls, that I have plants, that I have my favorite textures. My sheepskin that I do yoga on is right behind me on my chair. Everything in my space reflects what I find beautiful. And that allows me to live an aesthetic life rather than an anesthetic or numbed life. So it's a subtle difference, just subtle, but it makes a huge difference in the long run. Putting yourself in the command position, making yourself the locus of attention in your closet, in your bathroom, streamlining the ease of getting ready during the day, that affects every relationship you are going to encounter that day. Yeah.
Wisdom. I love it. Thank you so much for your answer. So, you've been on the show before. We do a wisdom in action every week. And if Shannon Ivy is available, she will jump on and participate. No, it's okay. She just popped out. So we'll do it, the three of us together. For social wellness, what is your wisdom in action this week, Melody?
Oh, goodness. My wisdom in action is it has to do with the changing of the seasons. So my wisdom in action is, as I bring down the bins of warmer winter clothes and swap them out for the sandals and the summer clothes, as I do that, I am celebrating. I'm celebrating the abundance of ease and peace because I'm participating in sustainable systems.
Mm.
Love it.
Hashtag celebrate.
Yes.
I've got mine already, Shannon. You want to go
Okay.
or you want me to go?
What's yours?
Oh, I'm taking what Melody just said about hashtag be at choice.
I love
Right,
it.
right. Like we were talking about at the beginning of the show. I mean, we're putting on this big deal, this big conference. I
Yeah.
could be running around like a chicken with its head cut off. Boy, you could tell I was raised on a farm. Sorry, y'all. That's one of those things, our phrases that we're like, oh yeah, where'd that one come from? And taking a moment to pause and reflect and celebrate and hopefully get some sleep.
Yes.
Folks that were on the conference knew that I didn't sleep well last night, but really just be at choice. What do I need to, oh, here comes Dr. Sheila K. Collins popping on here. Oh, hang on. Hello.
Hello. I needed one more thing to do today. I didn't have quite enough things to do.
Welcome to the party.
Welcome to the party. We were just actually wrapping and talking about being at choice and just our day and things about social wellness. So you want to just say hello and give a shout out before we go?
Well, that's it. That's what I'm doing. I just had to take the dog. My former husband is at his last hours. I'm dealing with people sending me emails about that. And I did a rehearsal for the Wing It for the program that's coming on Sunday for raising money for Interplay.
Right? International Week of Interplay. I'm going to be with you in that performance, Sheila. I
Yeah.
just told them I couldn't be there today.
I
had
know.
something else going on. Which we'll put a link to that in the show notes too about the International Week of Interplay because there's a couple of us performing in that on Sunday.
Yeah.
And it's going to be super fun. And tomorrow, Sheila, is your talk.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
So just another thing that we're getting ready for, you're going to have, I'm making sure I've got the timing right. Let me pull it up. I've got so many notes in my head. You are coming on tomorrow at 1:30 talking about the physicality of grief, a dancer's reflection on the art of grieving.
Yes.
And mine is after hers. Yes, glow from head to toe.
Right? Your glow from head to toe tomorrow afternoon. Yeah. The other thing, let me tell everybody real quick so tomorrow we gather at 9:30. We are having occupational wellness with Chartesia Griffin. We are having Laurel Ann Stark, who was last week's guest, who was phenomenal. She'll be doing a whole session. Yes. And then we have Sheila, and then we have Shannon, and then we have Satamara. Let's give her a giant shout out. She's going to go, yes, do you know? And she's going to do some African dance with us. So between Sheila's session with some interplay and some African dance, y'all wear comfortable clothes and be ready to have some fun.
Yeah. And Sheila, I know we don't always get to talk about this, but I love being in the same dimension of wellness with you in the book because over COVID, we've experienced so much grief, right? And we talk about holding both the grief and the gratitude.
Mhm.
And Shaylo Glow has helped so many people with that, just the physical touch. And a lot of times, if they don't dance, they get that part of it, you know? So for me, through my grief and everything that we've been working through as a community, I see how they go together. And I appreciate your wisdom and you sharing your story that's so vulnerable with everything that you've been through and helping us learn how to move through it.
Well, thank you. And one of the great things about it is I can dance on your behalf and you can just be there
Yeah.
or you can dance on my behalf. You don't have to do it all yourself. That's the nice part.
Wait, Sheila, I heard you say that about your former husband, and I
Yeah.
heard you say where you are. So I will do a dance on your behalf tonight, my
Thank you.
friends,
Thank you.
because
Yes.
I know that's a big deal. And you wrote about it in your blog. And if folks aren't following your blog, y'all go to SheilaKCollins.com and sign up for this amazing writer's blog. She will send it directly to your email. It's powerful every week. And she gives you resources. She gives you new ways to think about things. And it's just incredible. So
Yes. So Sheila, again, as you came on, we were talking about our wisdom in action, and Melody gave hers, Christine gave hers. What is your wisdom in action for social wellness this week?
Oh my goodness. Well, just keep moving. I mean, you have to just keep moving. The worst thing in life is getting stuck. You don't want to be stuck, so yeah.
That'll work. Keep moving. Mine is apply the wisdom. We talk about wisdom in action every week, right? We've been talking about, hey, knowledge is great. It's pointless if you don't put action behind it. So we're getting a lot of great nuggets. Melody, I went home like, okay, we're keeping both chairs. We need to get rid of one. What do we need to do? So yes, action steps.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, Christine, I think you're
I
muted.
am muted.
Okay,
I'm
I can
over
hear
here
you.
cackling. I'm over here cackling because I love that so much. And I was just having the thought, Melody said earlier in her session,
Yeah.
if you're not in a place where you can hire a professional organizer, or that you could train a friend, she could train a friend to help you, and think, I don't know. There's so many nuggets that keep dropping in my head. It's probably why I couldn't sleep last night, because I was so excited. So that's my other wisdom in action is sleep. So yes, y'all, if you want to join us, we have 2 days left of this fabulous conference. There are still tickets. You can get them. If you've missed the sessions, you can get the VIP package and get all the recordings, and you won't regret it. Like, it is for all of us on it. I think, we've been giddy this whole call in a way, but I think it just speaks to the level of who's showing up and what they're talking about and what they're bringing to the table and how powerful it is. And I am just grateful to be in community with each and every one of you, and the folks that came on before you, the folks we'll see the next 2 days. Like, thank you. Thank you for your wisdom. Thank you for everything. And
thank you. You guys are terrific.
Thank you so much, Sheila.
Thank you for creating the container, the circle within which women can connect and collaborate. You have wonderful. Shannon, Christine, thank you.
Thank you.
You are so welcome. Usually, as y'all know, you've been on our podcast, we bump you back into the green room, but I think we're just in such a spirit of being together these 4 days. Shannon, you want to close us?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, ladies, for being here for episode 90 in season 10, right? We will be here for the last episode, Physical Wellness of the season, next week, live at 5. In the meantime, be well, be wise, be whole. We'll see you soon.
Bye-bye.